Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live, Laugh, Larry. It's the show where we can all get dad advice from my dad, Larry. Dad, how are you today?
I'm really, really good.
Yeah.
This is fun. I mean, it's a chance to have your undivided attention and have a conversation with you, and that's what I enjoy most. So that's perfect.
Yeah, I think a really healthy way for a father and daughter to interact is in a way that hopefully gets monetized.
Yeah.
All right, well, Dad, to prove that you are my dad, can you share a family memory? Ideally one with me in it.
Okay. I have good memories of a great memory of the day you got your learner's license. I think we had to go to Dawson Creek for you to get your license. In fact, it wasn't your learner's; it was your N. You had to drive.
It was my real license.
Yeah, and did you drive all the way home that day? I think you did.
I don't even remember.
That was a long, I just remember that you were nervous and you were excited, and it was fun to be there.
I remember that was fun. We took a selfie in the parking lot when I got my N.
Before selfies were even really
honestly
a thing.
Yeah. I think maybe we started the selfie.
I think we may have.
Yeah.
Did we ever I don't think we ever got credit for that.
No, I don't think we did. What a shame. But
what a missed opportunity.
Yeah. I remember when I got my license in that test, I had practiced driving in your car always, but for that test, whatever happened, you needed the car or someone needed the car, and I had to take Mom's car. And we got in, and the first thing that I had to do was the lady asked me to turn the wipers on. Or no, she asked me to turn the left-hand turn signal on or something very simple. And I was nervous, so I turned the wipers on and the windshield wiper fluid at the same time. So the car started going like kind of berserk, and the lady at the front with her clipboard was just like, I'm
guessing she's seen it all.
Yeah, at least we didn't die.
I can't imagine that job.
Yeah. Oh, that was so fun. I didn't.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, look
you
at
had
us.
A big smile on your face.
Okay, well, I believe you. I believe that you're my dad. Hopefully everyone else listening is convinced that you are my dad, in fact. So moving on, to get us ready, as per usual, I have a bit of a speed round for advice giving. Are you ready?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Dear Larry, how do I tell my friend that their zipper is always undone?
Always undone?
Always. It's a problem that they have
They
anytime.
always have a zipper undone. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you have to tell someone too often that their fly's down, there might be a bigger issue.
There could be, seek medical help.
Well, either medical help or, I don't know.
Yeah.
It might not even be legal.
Yeah. Oh. Your friend, what is it, like a voyeurist or
whatever? Yeah, something with a bad name.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Moving on. Dear Larry, how do I break the ice on a first date?
Oh boy, that one. I think it's been a long time since I've been on a date.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I suppose you could try and tell a really cool joke.
Like what?
No, I think I'd scrap the joke. I think what I would do in hindsight is maybe do something, as many things as you can that are entirely, what's the word I'm looking? Chivalrous. Like open doors. Pay the bill.
Oh, really?
I don't know if that's
hot take.
I don't know. I'm not that romantic, I guess. As I'm trying.
Yeah, honestly,
it doesn't
treat her good, guys. Open the door and pay for the food.
And I just keep thinking of the Willie Nelson song, "Baby, I didn't love you
all those lonely times."
So just love her lots, I think,
but not too much. It is the first date, Dad. It is the first date.
Oh, right, yeah, not. Maybe you should slow down a bit. Yeah, okay. I rewind on that. Yeah, don't. That would be creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So no, I guess I'm out of practice. I guess that doesn't just roll off my tongue.
Yeah. Fair. Okay. So the advice that we're going to send out into the world for this speed round question is open the door for her.
Yeah.
And make sure you walk through door. Go somewhere with doors. Otherwise, you're
Yeah.
fucked.
Don't go anywhere open air.
Yeah.
Or you'll have nothing to, So that's a good bit of advice. Make
Yeah.
sure you go to someplace with doors.
All right. Thanks, Dad. Last question. Dear Larry, my kid won't clean his room. What do I do?
Your kid won't clean his room. Oh, my. Trying to think of KSB. That's my mom. There wasn't kind of such a thing as won't. And it wasn't just that I had to clean it, but it was like take the wand off the vacuum cleaner and get along between the floor and the wall, get under the bed.
Yeah. So now going into your life, now that you are the parent figure, what if somebody's kid doesn't clean their room? What would you do?
Well, I know with my own children, I failed. Yeah, I didn't pull off what my mom did.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that, it's like the old scene from the what are they called, the Oddfellows, where Oscar says to Felix, or Felix says to Oscar, "Hey, look, my room's so clean you could eat off the floor." And Oscar says, "Well, so you could eat off my floor too. Look, there's a cracker and there's some peanut butter." And that reminds me of your room. Oh. No, yours wasn't too bad.
Yeah. I'll blame that
your
on
brother,
the other
on the
siblings.
other hand.
Yeah, totally. Brother dearest, if you're listening, I wonder if you'll listen. If you're listening, Dad's coming for you.
But he's grown up to be such a good man.
Oh, I'll edit that part out.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Well, I think now is a great time to hear the first question. What do you say?
Sure. Let's try it.
Cool. Buckle up. This one is from Ellie.
Hi Larry, this is Ellie from beautiful British Columbia, Canada. I'm a huge fan of yours. You're just about the coolest dad out there. And my question for you is, I'm turning 30 this year, and I am trying to figure out why people decide to have children. How did you decide that you wanted children in your life, or at least one child? Did that just happen to you, or did you put some thought into it? And what advice would you give to people who don't know if they want to have children in their lives? Thank you.
Hi, Ellie. 30 years old. I got to tell you, I think some of the clothes I'm wearing are 30 years old, so that's not really that old. You got lots of time.
Whippersnapper.
Yeah, whippersnapper. That's an interesting question. I have 3 kids. McCary obviously is one of them. And since she's sitting here, I'll probably talk about her the most. But I'm glad I chose, or let it happen, the fact that I have 3 kids. Mm-hmm. If you're questioning why not to have kids, there's I'm sure there are a lot of conversations you could have about in this world right now. Is this the world you want to bring children into? If you want to take that tack, or they're expensive, because they are. Mm-hmm. It changes your life quite a bit from being single. So, you have to consider those things. But that being said, my 3 kids are all incredibly different. I often tell people on the days that the 3 of them were born, I didn't require a camera to record the memory because it's totally ingrained in my head. Those 3 days are probably 3 of my most favorite days in my several years of living. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'd have to say, as McCary right now, who goes from being an infant to a toddler, she's now an adult that I love to sit and have conversations with. And there's things I've seen memes out that, how special it is when your adult children want to spend time with you. And I don't know if I ever appreciated that when I was the child as much as I appreciate it now that I'm the parent. So, there's a huge upside to having children. There will be times when I don't know if I ever thought,
God, you're going to shift your positivity.
No. I don't think there was ever a time when I thought, geez, I wish I hadn't had kids.
Yeah, right.
No, I can honestly say that. I would never say, geez, if my life would be different if I hadn't had kids.
Dad.
What?
You don't have to lie.
No, I'm not. I'm not. No, I mean, there are days when life would have been easier. When they experience heartache, you experience a very similar heartache. And I think and this is coming from years of working in education, nothing is more protective than a mama bear that believes their child has been harmed or wronged or hurt in some way. And even the most rational people can become totally irrational if they feel that's happened.
Yeah.
And I've been there.
Yeah.
So I know that it becomes, it's they are you, and they're a part of you, and you hurt when they hurt. You are excited when they are excited. You feel their successes. You feel their failures. So it's like having another limb, I suppose. That
sounds terrible.
No, but I know as a parent, as much as nothing has caused me more worry, but nothing has given me more joy than my kids. So,
and also, the more that I get older and the more that I talk to women and moms, and the more I learn about the things that the female body has to go through, I learn something new every day, it feels like, about things falling or moving around in ways that you don't want them to go. So I can't speak on that part of it. You can't speak on that part of it. But that's a whole other factor to consider as a lady of there's a lot of things to think about.
Oh yeah, no, it's I full credit to ladies for
well, though
for
you
their
had
role.
a really hard time for my birth, right, Dad?
Yeah, I tease McCary's mom that I had a really nice T-shirt the night we went into the hospital for your birth,
My entrance,
your entrance into the world, and when contractions started, your mom has pretty healthy fingernails. And when they would start, I was standing there doing the thing that I had been trained in, Lamaze classes?
birthing classes.
Birthing class, whatever. I had been trained, to rub her shoulders or her legs, whatever. I was doing everything. I even had a tennis ball. I think there was something you're supposed to use a tennis ball for. And she wasn't into the rubbing or the tennis balls. But I was standing close enough that every time the contraction would start, it was her right hand, would come up and just slap me on the chest, grab the neck of my shirt, and pull it down and grab handfuls of hair off my chest at the same time. So, yeah, the delivery was tough on me because it ruined a perfectly good shirt.
Yeah.
And it pulled huge patches of hair out of my chest and left my skin a little bit raw there. So, yeah, yours was a tough birth for me.
For you. Yeah, you had a really hard time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
Memorable,
men,
though.
you know what? It's the hardest time to be a man right now. I think men are having a really hard time. When I was editing the footage of you, Dad, in the screen time video that we did, and I was telling you to, I was directing you and you were doing funny stuff and you were singing and laughing, and there were moments of genuine joy on your face and the fun that we were having in these videos. And while I was editing those videos, I got kind of emotional in a positive way, and I was getting all teary-eyed because your laughter and smile made me so happy. And I felt like you were, if we're going back to your example, I felt like you were the extension of me there. I was like, oh, he's I totally get that. So while I was watching it, I remember I was at a co-working space and I turned to one of my, coworkers, and I was like, I think I get what people say about like the joy of having kids. And not to say that I don't want to make it sound weird and like you're a kid or whatever, but like loving someone so much and really reveling and enjoying their happiness. I was like, oh, maybe that's how parents feel. Also, I think we have someone knocking on the door. Should we let him in? We have a little creature with 4 legs who desperately wants to be a part of the podcast. Hello, Willie. I'm so happy that you're joining me here. All right. So kids or no kids, that is the question. But we're going to move on to a question from James. Ready, Dad?
What are some good habits to do each day, each week that you have found have served you well over the course of your lifetime? Thanks.
My wife, McCary's mom, is she at one point in her life was a foods teacher. So she's an amazing cook, but she's also a very healthy cook. And
Yeah.
one habit that I'd like to think I have is she's, maybe guilted me into eating things that are better for me.
As a kid, I remember having Kraft dinner, but never the fun kind, because it would be whole wheat Kraft dinner, and then she would take half the packet of cheese out.
Yeah, and never used all the butter. No. I had to sneak you to McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I remember you having to sneak me to McDonald's, and so I didn't really know about McDonald's. I was a bit of a dweeb, I guess, and I remember going to a friend's birthday party, and everybody ordered their Big Macs or burgers, whatever. Everyone got their stuff, and I ordered a muffin and a water.
I didn't know that story. Yeah. Oh, that makes Mom sound awful.
Yeah, well, she was. Just kidding. No, it was mortifying because, the kids were actually fine with it. But I remember this one mom, the mom, I'll tell you later, but she made fun of me for it. I was like, well, kids don't eat muffins. I was like, well, hell yeah, they do. I mean, anyway. Yeah.
As long as it had raisins in it.
I probably got a Morning Glory muffin.
Good.
As a 6-year-old. Yeah, so anyway, going back to habits. Yeah, I'd say you and I are like decent habit people. Mom is the real habit master, the habit queen.
Yeah.
And she's kind of forced us to take those on.
Yeah, Mom's ablutions are religious.
Yeah. I remember my yoga teacher one time talking while we were in like downward dog or something, and he was saying, life is full of boundaries, and when you think of boundaries, you think that that's a bad thing, a boundary you can't enter, it sucks. But he's like, if you think about it, rivers have boundaries and they need them to be able to flow and whatever. Super hokey, but I remember really enjoying that, and I enjoyed hearing that, and I equate that to good habits. It's, the things that you do every day are what matters, not necessarily the one healthy meal you eat every month or the one really unhealthy meal you eat every month. It's all about just those small decisions you make every day. And I think we're both really lucky to have had Mom in our lives to teach us that.
Absolutely.
Well, we nailed that one, Dad, I'd say. So we're going to move on to the last question from Lisa.
Larry, I need some advice. I've had this idea for a book bouncing around my head for a really long time, and recently it crystallized into something I actually really want to write, except I'm not a writer at all. So do you have any thoughts on how to complete a potentially fun but definitely overwhelming task that no one is requiring except you and Macari as a distinguished children's book author? Could you please talk about how you went about putting your idea onto, I guess, a computer screen and then getting it printed and published into a physical book? And what did you learn in the process? Many thanks.
Thank you for sending in the question, Lisa. It's a good one, and I have thoughts instantly. And I know it's supposed to be Dad answers the question, but I'm going to take over first.
Fair. Yeah.
The, how to complete an overwhelming task that no one is requiring except you. That's kind of how I have felt this last 7 months doing YouTube videos. And I initially had approached the dream of doing YouTube as I get to do this for 5 months, and then after the 5 months I have to stop and reassess where I'm at, and if it's bad then I should go back to working in project management. And at the time I had a counselor and she was great, and I remember her telling me, Macari, that's a really great way to approach it. It's a way to approach it, but a different mindset that she posed was think of it as you have to do it for 5 months, because in theory, dreams are really fun to follow, and it's exciting, but in reality, it's actually really hard and not fun and deflating and maddening and all those kind of things sometimes. So it was just a really wonderful mind shift for her to provide to me. And so instead of approaching a new project with like, oh my God, yay, I'm so excited, and then whenever it goes poorly, feeling sad and hating myself a little bit for not loving my dream, the mindset shift was approaching new projects or new videos like, oh God, this is probably going to have moments of sucking and it's going to be a challenge, but at least I'll learn from the challenges. And also now I know that when there are fun moments and it is exciting, that's a really wonderful added bonus. And I'm not ever in a position of hating myself for not enjoying it as much as I think I should be, because anything worth doing is going to be difficult and it's going to take a while. So, and it feels so much more rewarding when you do it. Even the other night, I learned how to set up these podcast mics so that they plug into my computer, and I wanted to throw my computer at the wall because I was so frustrated, but then I figured it out and it felt really good. It kind of reminds me of when you wrote your, I'm going to drop the fact that you have a PhD, so hoity-toity, but it's kind of like when you were writing your dissertation for the PhD.
I can remember one summer taking our travel trailer out to my uncle's farm and basically parking off the grid for, I think, almost a week. Mm-hmm. And you and Mom would come out and visit at times, but I basically, other than exercise and read/write, that's all I did for a week. And it's the only time I really felt like a writer, where I thought that this is the only thing I'm doing right now. Now it's tough to do that when you're working full time, or you have family,
or you don't have a trailer, you don't have
your uncle's farm to park it on. Yeah, no, it was a unique situation. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you have the capacity to be able to say, I'm going to immerse myself in this book for a set period of time, that worked for me. Mm-hmm. The other thing, and I when I wasn't out in the trailer, I actually set up I had a little office kind of thing set up in our bedroom that was left full time on dissertation mode, so I didn't have to put anything away. It was only for, it wasn't forever, but it was something that made it right in front of mind, if you will.
To go back to Lisa's question, there was a second part of it, and that was, how did I get my children's book out of my head and into the world, basically? And for extra context, for anyone who doesn't know, I am the distinguished author of a children's book. Not a long read. It's only, 24 pages. I don't know how many words.
Some really great pictures.
Really great pictures that I didn't do. But I basically always wanted to write a children's book. And one Christmas holiday, I was really bored. And around that time, I also had been getting gifts for friends, and one of my friends had just become an uncle, and I wanted to get him a book about being an uncle. And I noticed that there weren't any, so I thought, oh, this is a perfect opportunity. I always wanted to write the children's book, so I'll write a children's book about uncles. So that's what I did, and I guess I'm also making a YouTube video right now of following my process of how to get an idea out of your head and into the world. And the 4 steps that I talk about in the video are: 1, set a budget. And in my book's case, it was $1,000. And I justified that, just like I justified this podcast, as that's pretty much equivalent to the price of one university course. And I'd learn a lot by writing a book. I'll learn a lot by doing this podcast. So I can justify that in my brain. The second one is set goals. And the children's book was, I wanted a high quality book that I wasn't going to be embarrassed to ask people to pay money for. I think I had more specific goals, but basically in a nutshell, that was it. The third step is to do the things even though you have no idea what you're doing and they're going to suck sometimes. And the fourth step is persevere, because it's going to be really frustrating a lot of the times. And for the book, that's kind of what I did. I remember telling you and Mom that I wanted to write this children's book, and you guys are supportive with everything I do. But I remember you kind of being like, oh, sure, sweetie, that'll be nice. Like, not much of an artist, so it'll be stick figures at the very best. And I ended up working with an amazing artist on Upwork who agreed to the budget. And she sent back the most beautiful art, Monet-inspired, Van Gogh-inspired illustrations that I've ever seen. And we just had a wonderful working relationship, and she sent back beautiful art. And I remember showing you and Mom, and you guys were like, oh, you're writing a book.
It was real. It was really good. That's
impressive. And other than that, it was basically anytime there was issues with formatting or frustration with the writing, again, not that it was that hard, it was a children's book, but any type of hurdle that I had to jump over, it was just knowing that was part of the process, and I was going to write the book no matter what. And as long as I stayed in budget, I just kind of pushed through. And yeah, that's kind of how I got it out and it published. I didn't promote it anywhere except for on Instagram with one picture saying I wrote a book. And
you can buy it on Instagram or on Amazon.
Yeah,
It's called I Love Being Your Uncle.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, buy it on Amazon. You can also buy it locally from some bookstores. Russell Books, Books and Shenanigans, and Bolin Books as well sells it. And I actually made a YouTube video about how I asked every bookstore in my city to sell it.
It's a cool story how you did that.
Yeah.
I was proud of you for doing that. That was pretty cool.
Thank you. So you just kind of have to do it. And I know, Lisa, you mentioned in your question that you're not a writer at all. And I don't think you really have to be. I think anyone is a writer and anyone is a artist, albeit some better than others. But you don't, I don't know how to do a podcast. Who knows if this is going to be any good? Maybe it's terrible, but we're podcasters now. Thank you for sending in the question, Lisa. I'm excited to see the book. I hope you send it to us when you're done.
Yeah, good luck with it. That's wonderful.
Good luck with the book. It's going to be fun. So yeah, I think now it's time for our final segment, and that's what the heck is your problem?
And it's your turn to answer that question. What the heck is your problem?
Now I feel like how you feel when I put you on the spot all the time.
And you do that quite often.
Mm-hmm. My problem right now, of all of the problems that I have, is I have a slight worry at the back of my mind all the time that I'm not producing enough content on my YouTube channel. I guess that's really it. I don't have other media sources. Eventually now it'll be the podcast, but I just sometimes worry that I'm not putting out enough, and that feels bad. But saying it out loud even makes me kind of realize how silly that is. And ultimately, I want to be very professional with my YouTube channel, and I take it really seriously, and I want to meet my own deadlines. But I also don't actually want to make content. I want to, well, this sounds pretentious, but I want to make stuff that people watch and feel good afterwards. I don't ever want to trick people into a bad video that's just edited well and they leave feeling bad about what they saw, or they wish they hadn't just spent 15 minutes of their life watching one of my things. So in order to do that as a one-person team, I think I just need to be okay with the fact that sometimes I don't have 5 videos on the go, and sometimes one is enough. But I guess that's where I'm scared, because right now I just have this podcast. Like right now I just have 5 podcast episodes and the video about how to make a podcast on the go, whereas usually I have like 3 videos or 4 going on at the same time. So right now I'm feeling a little nervous.
If I can just interject and give some support or feedback or advice, if you will. I believe that you're on the right track with quality over quantity. Don't just put it out because you think you should. Obviously you can't work any harder than you are. Mm-hmm. And it comes back to what I've said to you. I said to you when you were in university, there are times you need to take a break and not be so hard on yourself. And I think that this plan to move forward at a reasonable pace and produce quality videos or that you're proud of will pay off. Mm-hmm. And I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. Nice. Thanks, Dad. Well, that's all we have time for. So how do you think we did today?
You're asking me?
I'm asking you.
I do feel like we were sincere. Mm-hmm. And then at the very least, I've just had an hour and a half conversation with my daughter. And I think I once said, just not so long ago today, that spending time with my kids is a pretty good way to spend my day.
Yeah, especially when it's hopefully monetized.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, to close things off, I want to send the 2 of us and whoever's listening out there out into the world with a task. And this week's task is to literally stop and smell the roses. Or any flower, really. It doesn't have to be a rose. So if you feel so inclined, please share a picture of you or just some of the flowers and tag us on Instagram at livelaughlarrypod.
I'm curious to see if anybody does that. That would be cool.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a 5-star review. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and comment your favorite part. It will really help us get this podcast off the ground. And like I always say, it'll even just inform us on whether or not we should keep doing this.
Exactly.
And yeah, lastly, if you are in need of some dad advice, please send in your video recording or audio message to livelaughlarrypod@gmail.com.
Alrighty. Bye.